And welcome back to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. Today, it's Friday. Hey, we made it through another week. But guess what? We've got some new news as coming out from our lovely government, the United States, who just happened to release an index report on inflation. So we'll talk about that in a moment. And we'll also talk about Veritaseum, the video I released yesterday. I'll be sure to share that link up here. And also a special offer that I'll be mentioning later today. So lots of content today. Let's go ahead and get started. So first off, we want to talk about the consumer price index numbers that were released today. And I was over on another channel. It was Nobody Special Finance. If you don't know that channel, you should. I met him through Economic Ninja. I haven't met him personally yet, but with Ninja doing a lot of interviews of other channels, I've been exposed to other channels, which is great because I love adding new sources, new content. I happen to be on Nobody Special Finance's live discussion on CPI, was able to interact with his community. I love doing that. So shout out to him. He mentioned me. I shout out back to him. It's a great channel. I recommend if you're interested in economics and learning more, definitely check out his channel. So consumer price index, it was released today. It was 6.8%. It actually matched expectations. So let's talk about what that's like and also what's hidden in their actual numbers and what's really going on. So we all know lots of money is being printed. The inflation is much higher than 6.8. First off, you should know a site called shadowstats.com. Great site. They do a lot of analysis of, for those of you who don't know, the consumer price index is a gauge of inflation. And it's what the government uses for a lot of metrics for measuring inflation and also paying its contractors, paying out Social Security and so on, and managing its increases in payments. So they want their consumer price index to be as low as possible because the higher it is, the more they have to pay, and also the worse the worse the economics look for the country, and if it's out of control, they're targeting 3% inflation. If it's higher than 3%, then it looks to be a little bit more out of control than it needs to be. So they want to keep that number as low as possible to keep their payments down to things that they promised to pay, and also to make it look like they've got things under control, which we all know they don't. So the consumer price index has changed over time, much like the Dow 30 and the stock exchange indexes have changed over time. But the Dow Jones Industrial Index of 30 stocks has changed over and over again. They've pulled some out, they put others in, they've changed multipliers, they manipulate these numbers. That's what they do. So the CPI, many people don't know, first off, it is a manipulated number, but two key components that are expenditures for everyone, actually three key components of everyone's budget are housing, food, and energy. Well, food and energy are not included in the CPI at all. We'll get back to that in a moment. Real estate is indirectly included for about 25%, 25% of what an equivalent rental price of real estate would be. So it's very, very squishy. It's kind of subjective. It's like somebody calls you and says, hey, what would your house rent for? And you need to give them a number. They use that rather than like housing sales or anything like that. They don't, or housing starts, and they don't use a real like industry approved number for real estate. They just kind of get this squishy number that can be manipulated. Imagine that. But getting back to the two things that are not included, food and energy. Now, my contention is this, and this is my theory. Prove me wrong. Please comment, like this, subscribe, share this. I love to have a conversation about things like this. So my contention is this: they are printing more money, and the number one export of the United States for the last 50 years or so has been inflation, because they pushed the Petro Dollar out into the rest of the world because contracts had to be settled in US dollars, and most of the globe still runs on oil. It's just the nature of the beast. A lot of industries, and we've spent a lot of energy, no pun intended, going to other countries and trying to improve their infrastructure, so they have to consume more oil, and they have to buy that oil from the Middle East and typically Saudi Arabia or others in terms of dollars. So they have to go and first they have to buy dollars with their current currency, and then they have to go exchange those dollars for oil so that they can keep their economies running. Now, what's hidden in the CPI index report is that the cost of food and energy, food, of course, I think that's they manipulate that number. It looked like it didn't go up. We all know that food prices went up, but the prices of energy went up nearly 60% on an annualized basis. What does that mean? Well, that means that oil is going up, which means that they're exporting inflation by making people pay more for oil. So if you raise the price of oil, which they can manipulate, they clearly do. OPEC has done it for years and years. They raise the price of oil, which allows them, which creates a larger demand for dollars. So they're still exporting inflation. So, and then Americans are paying twice for this inflation, first at the pump through gas, and secondly for the cost of food, because transportation and supply chain and trucking all have to buy gas too. So, and you also got heating oil, which is going to be record setting, could be double the price this year. So fortunately, it's been mostly mild across the country so far, but we'll wait and see how that plays out. But I want to point out, first off, Shadow Stats tells you that the CPI index is probably at least 4 or 5% too low. We're well into the double digits of real inflation. Because if you go back the way it was calculated back in the 80s, which is what they do, they go back and say, here's how we used to calculate it. Here's what inflation really should be. And it's double digit. And now like the 6.8 number, that yes, it matched expectations, but it's the same as a company who releases earnings every quarter. And there's a whisper number. And then when they do their earnings report, their earnings call, the question is, does it match expectations? Do better or do worse? Well, imagine that. Most of the time you match expectations, match the whisper number, just like the US matched their CPI prediction of 6.8. It just happened to be the same. So that's to minimize the impact of the economy, to try to keep things like everything's fine, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. That's what they're doing in the CPI. Meanwhile, energy's soaring through the roof, which means oil's soaring through the roof, which means they're exporting dollars. There's your hidden inflation. That's how they manipulate the market. So that's why I consider myself a minor or an amateur economist, because I have to look at all these things and how they all tie together. I don't know if you're, as an analogy, if you've ever seen the movie Limitless, I remember a scene in that movie. I don't want to put this in here for copyright reasons, but if you go and watch the movie Limitless with, I think it was Bradley Cooper, it's a fantastic movie. I don't think it was that popular, but at one point he finds this ability, I think through a pill, to basically unlock his mind and just accomplish everything. He sees things with such clarity. One time he walks in, I don't know, an investment banker, and he says, well, I knew that the price of soybean was going to go up because I saw the weather, climate, and this and that, and that was going to impact the weather in Brazil, and then that will impact the price of soybeans. So I made a lot of money on soybean futures. And they're like, oh. So it's kind of like being able to see how things tie together. That's the analogy I'm making here. I see how these things tie together. I see how the inflation is being manipulated. I see how the numbers are all, the game is played. They're playing the game. What's really happening, you saw it this morning, and I think they'll manipulate it throughout the day because they don't want to keep it under wraps as much as they can. But crypto spiked immediately at 8:30 in the morning Eastern time when the CPI index came out, not because of what the CPI was 6.8. It was because that energy was 60%, and people saw that and it spiked because they said energy's out of control, inflation's out of control, energy is going to go through the roof, which is just going to create more and more demand for the dollar, which is going to drive the price of Bitcoin up in terms of US dollars. So that's my take on things. That's where I'm at with the CPI index. Now let's talk about that special offer. So today's special offer, if you're not, and I don't want to take up too much time with it, but if you haven't heard me talk about Crypto Confidential, both myself and Divi Daddy, who happened to appear with me the other day on my AMA last week, if you haven't seen that, please check that out, because it just gives you an idea of the culture that the dynamic that we have, the information that we can share. We have a lot of content that we can share with people, and we're trying to get that information out as best we can. So we're creating a newsletter as part of Crypto Confidential, and it's beyond just a newsletter. So I'll be sending out an affiliate link for now, but for right now, if you're not on my email list, contact me. Go to LitecoinLeader.com or leave a comment below and tell me how to reach you, or if you want, or give me an email or something, and I'll get you that special offer. But basically, a subscription to Crypto Confidential right now, you can get it for a great deal, 50% off. And it's in the first 100 people that sign up get that for in perpetuity. So that means that's for life. So you're grandfathered in, you get 100 people in, you get those first 100 people get the deal, and they get that subscription for half off for life. So quite the offer that's being made right now. I sent it out to my email list this morning. I know some people have already wrote back that they've already signed up, which is fantastic. I appreciate that. But if you want to know more about crypto in general, how to live the crypto life, how to live on crypto, how to manage your crypto journey from a number of smart people over at Viva Capital, including myself and Divvy Daddy, you're going to want to sign up for that email. So check it out. If you're not on my email list, you should be. I send out a lot of good content. I have my newsletter that's linked on my website for free, but this is a free offer that I'm sending out just as sort of an early Christmas present to everybody, half off for next year and beyond for the first 100. So check that out. Get on my email list at least, and then we can go from there. All right, so now my third part of the content today is about Veritaseum. And I've been very active now in the Veritaseum group, and there's a lot going on, obviously, with the patent this week. I put out this video last night, which I think got good reviews. Hey, I'm just trying to get the word out. Not enough people know about what's going on with Veritaseum, but I'm trying to explain how this is going to probably play out in my own viewpoint. Again, just connecting dots. So Veritaseum, the Veritaseum token is going to be valuable, I believe, and Reggie's even put this in one of his releases, that the VERI token is basically going to be a discount on a subscription. Imagine that, kind of what I just talked about in the offer. So what's going to happen, and let me give an analogy of how this licensing and this discount is going to work. An example, some of you may not like it, but I think everybody's familiar with the concept of Disney World. So Disney World sells tickets for people to come in and enjoy Disney World for the day. So the analogy here is that instead of Disney World, it's DeFi World. And DeFi World sells tickets every day for people to come in and allow it. So the gatekeeper of DeFi World is now going to be Veritaseum and Reggie Middleton's patents, because he owns the patent on DeFi. You can come in and play in the DeFi world, but you're going to have a ticket. The ticket is going to be a license agreement with Veritaseum in order to use the IP, because they own the intellectual property of DeFi. So now, to go a level further, for those of you who want to really enjoy Disney World, you know about fast passes, you know about VIP experiences and so on. You pay a little more with your ticket, but you get a much better experience, and you get discounts throughout the park. That's the VERI token. So now the VERI token will go along with your license agreement. So when you go into DeFi world, because you have your ticket, which is your licensing agreement, if you have the VERI token as well, you get discounts, you get to the front of the line, you get those sorts of things. You get a better experience in DeFi world. That's what the VERI token is going to offer. So a lot of people are going to want to go get those tokens, because it's going to be value add for both the company that has them and wants to partake in DeFi world and set up their own ride, set up their own experience, and also for the users and those who experience that particular ride and that particular project in DeFi world. So everyone will win, but you're going to have to pay to play. So you have to buy your ticket, and if you want a better experience, you get a VERI token or several to get the VIP experience, the fast pass experience, and have a more enjoyable experience while you are in DeFi world. So that's the analogy. I hope that makes more sense to you. If it doesn't, again, leave comments down below. Tag it with VERI or Veritaseum or crypto. Let's use one tag today. And let's talk about, let's use ticket, the word hashtag ticket today. So you leave the word hashtag ticket in the comments below, and then I'll be sure to hop right on and just say, let's talk about it. And let's find out about what's going on. We can talk about the offer, we can talk about Veritaseum, and we can talk about inflation. I mean, there's three major topics. None of them tie the word ticket, but I'm using the word ticket today. So there we go. So hashtag ticket, like, subscribe, share. And I will, as I said before, and for those of you who are new, thank you for joining. I appreciate you all. And thank you also for who are taking me up on that offer. It's going to help us grow Crypto Confidential. But for those of you who are new this month, I am taking a little bit more personal time off this month because it's the holidays. So there are still going to be videos Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to release 2 coin reviews. They're sort of a retouch. One is on a DeFi coin, which is on the Polkadot chain. It's a very good project. You want to check that out. And the other one is, which one did I do? Oh, it's a project where their mainnet's being launched either this month or next. So it's a key milestone for them. You're going to want to know about that project as well. So stay tuned. Catch one of them on Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Catch another one Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern. And I'll be back live with you on Monday. So with all that said, I'm going to close the door on the bureau, and I will see you next time. And of course, follow the leader. Take care, everyone.